Okay, we are in lesson 9 of The Giver. So we are going to continue to analyze Jonas's characterization and examine how Jonas's experience of memories impacts his perception of the community. And that's what card 3 of 11 says if you were to look at Learn Zillion of lesson 9. Card 5 says to share your your summary from your independent reading from chapter 10 and 11 with your partner and then discuss. So we will have done that before, we'll do that in class. Chapter 10, we'll already have that conversation. Chapter 11, I will not read the entire chapters when it said homework, but we will have already had those conversations. And then you will be expected to do those summaries. Card 6 says, follow along as I read an excerpt from chapter 11 of The Giver. And it says, but what happened to those things? Snow and the rest of it. It starts on page 106. But what happened to those things? Snow and the rest of it. Climate control. Snow made growing food difficult, limited the agricultural periods, and unpredictable weather made transportation almost impossible at times. It wasn't a practical thing, so it became obsolete when it went to sameness. And hills too, he added. They made conveyance of goods unwieldy. Trucks, buses slowed them down. So, he waved his hand as if a gesture had caused hills to disappear. Sameness, he concluded. Jonas frowned. I wish we had those things. Still, just now and then. The old man smiled. So do I. But that choice is not ours. So it says to discuss, how do Jonas and the Giver feel about weather and hills being obsolete? Now, obsolete is one of our vocabulary words. What does obsolete mean? If something is obsolete, it's no longer used. It's no longer in existence. So a synonym would be it's discontinued. Cell phones have made landlines almost obsolete today since most people no longer have a need for them. So if something's obsolete, it's no longer used. But how do Jonas and the Giver feel about weather and hills being obsolete? They don't like it, do they? Why are their perspectives significant? They're significant because they're different from what the rest of the community, or at least those that are in leadership, those that have made the decisions. The elders or the decision makers have chosen sameness. If you look behind me, I have a mountain, and you can even see clouds. I just like that, right? But if you take the hills away and you don't have anything to go up and you don't have anything to go down, and you just stay even keel, which it's kind of boring. And that's kind of what they have. But it makes it easier for farming, you know. So, but the elders, they're the ones that make the decision, and they wanted the agriculture to be the same. They want the land to be the same everywhere. They want it to be level. They don't want the weather to be unpredictable. They want it to be predictable. So they controlling it so that it'll be the same. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the next card, 8 of 11. It says, reread the following excerpt from chapter 11, starting with Jonas obeyed carefully. That's on the bottom of page 108. Jonas obeyed carefully. He closed his eyes, waiting, and felt the hands again. Then he felt the warmth again, the sunshine again, coming from the sky of this other consciousness that was so new to him. Because again, he's being a memory. The memory of that's being transmitted to him from the giver. This time, as he lay basking in the wonderful warmth, he felt the passage of time. His real self was aware that it was only a minute or two, but his other memory-receiving self felt hours pass in the sun. His skin began to sting. Restlessly, he moved one arm, bending it, and felt a sharp pain in the crease of his inner arm at the elbow. Ouch, he said loudly and shifted on the bed. Ow, he said, wincing at the shift, and even moving his mouth to speak made his face hurt. He knew there was a word, but the pain kept him from grasping it. Then it ended. He opened his eyes, wincing with discomfort. It hurt, he told the man, and I couldn't get the word for it. It was sunburn, the old man told him. It hurt a lot, Jonas said, but I'm glad you gave it to me. It was interesting. And now I understand better what it meant and that there would be pain. The man didn't respond. He sat silently for a second. Finally, he said, get up now. It's time for you to go home. They both walked to the center of the room. Jonas put his tunic back on. Goodbye, sir, he said. Thank you for my first day. The old man nodded to him. He looked drained and a little sad. Sir, Jonas said shyly. Yes? Do you have a question? It's just that I don't know your name. I thought you were the receiver, but you say that I'm the receiver, so I don't know what to call you. The man had sat back down in the comfortable upholstered chair. He moved his shoulders around as if to ease away an aching sensation. He seemed terribly weary. Call me the giver, he told Jonas. Okay. So we're going to look at question 4 and 5. Okay. Number 4, what does Jonas experience and why is this new and a unique experience for him? What does he experience at the beginning of the chapter? He feels it, and then he sees it, and then actually he experiences it. And then what else does he experience? Okay. So if you say something about the snow and he relives a memory where he is sledding down a hill during the winter, that's right. And so you write about that, you're right. And then what did the community make a decision about? The elders, what did they choose? There was a word. That's important. I would go ahead and put that in there too. Because that's why that memory is a memory and no longer in their life today because of climate control. Number 5, describe the giver at the end of chapter 11. How does he feel about the community? And cite text evidence from his interaction with Jonas. He tells us exactly how he feels. It's described. So you can say how he feels. I have 2 or 3 different words here. At least 2 you need to write down. And then explain it. About how he feels about the community. Okay, so you'll do that. Okay, and I don't know if we're ready to answer 6 just yet. Just give me a sec. Let's go back to answer question 6 on your how do the giver's memories influence Jonas's perspective about his community's focus on sameness? Okay, so you're going to have to answer 6. Okay, and for homework you will need to read chapter 12. So in this lesson we did read chapter 11, and Jonas gets his very first memory transmitted to him. He actually has 3 different experiences in this first meeting with the giver, and he is told that call him the giver and he is the receiver. And so I mean, it's unbelievable what he's experiencing, because it's something unlike he's experienced in real life. So he's got a lot to think about. So go ahead and read chapter 12 and finish your answering questions 4, 5, and 6. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.